Welcome to Pegwarmers. I'm Kevin.
I'm Tony.
And I'm Ryan.
And we're here to talk about toys. Today, we're talking about the ToyBiz deluxe figures, the 10-inch line.
Yes. Very important line to me. As you can see, these are all mine, actually. Those are yours.
I got a couple boxed ones in the back.
Yeah, I would just get these every birthday, Christmas. My family would get me one or two of them.
You Richie Riches. I always wanted all of these.
Were they expensive? I didn't know.
I never had any of the big ones.
Oh, you
I had
didn't?
tons of the little guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I never had the little guys.
Okay.
I'm the only did ToyBiz do all the Marvel stuff?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so I had Thanos and a spacesuit Cable.
Okay, yeah.
And I had two other guys who I don't even know their names. One of them looks like a caveman. He's a red.
They went really deep.
They're
on that
they're
one.
in over there, and
They
then
went
the other
super
guy
deep.
is he's this big muscular guy who's bald with sunglasses and his arms flop. For close-ups, I will pull them out of the thing. I will show what I'm talking about in
I'm
close-up.
trying to think of what that is.
But these were my
This
favorite.
was your jam.
Yes.
And some of them are exact, just blowed up versions of figures from those lines.
Yeah.
Like this Wolverine.
Yeah,
Now,
Wolverine's exact.
It's slightly
Basically.
different. He doesn't have the
Yeah.
spot on the back for the action feature, but I mean it is the same sculpt. They scanned it and enlarged it or something. I don't know what the technology was like in 1994, but it is almost exactly a large scale version of that original Wolverine.
Yeah, and I'm missing pretty much all the accessories from them. They're a little
course.
damaged. You'll see they're a little scruffed up. Rogue's head is glued on. That was my sister's. She ripped the head off at some point.
What a
But
rascal.
Spider-Man's all marked up. Venom's paint's chipping here and there.
They've been through some battles.
Yeah, can we for our first one, can we show a comparison? So here we have the Silver Surfer.
There he is.
Which
Very nice.
So he could do this, but then his other arm can only go side to side. You can just break his arm.
I wonder if the small version of him had a disc throwing feature or something.
Yeah.
And so
Trying
the
to
joint
remember.
is
I have the little
articulated
one.
that way.
I don't know why he would be like that. I can't remember if he had a feature or anything like that.
So
Yeah,
here's
now get your box one. I'm going to show the comparison.
Beautiful.
Ultimate shiny.
So
version.
that's what it looks like when it's never open, and this is what it looks like when it's been
Oh.
open for 30-something years. Just super faded. The paint is gone. My surfboard's super scuffed up. That still looks really good in the box.
Yeah. Oh no, this one's beautiful.
Sometimes
That's
even
really
when they're
nice.
in the box, they'll fade and
Uh-huh.
whatnot. But no, that one's holding up.
So each one of the animated series that had an associated ToyBiz line got figures. So there
Yeah.
are X-Men figures, there's Spider-Man figures, Fantastic Four, and
Yeah.
Iron Man. They had 4 different lines, with the X-Men being the biggest
Yeah.
of them.
And I'm guessing characters like Ghost Rider, who was in the Fantastic Four, got thrown in.
Yeah, I assume so. I don't actually know which line he came from.
Okay.
So I did some research online trying to find out all the figures that were made, and I don't know if it's a 100% accurate list that I was able to cobble
Ghost
together.
Rider actually had its own line for a while.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
there was
he might have been
5
released on
figures.
his own.
I was telling him.
Because I was
so-
Ghost Rider crazy when
Okay.
I was a kid.
yeah, so that Ghost Rider, he's glow in the dark.
Oh yeah, I could tell.
We
It's
could try.
awesome.
We'll try it later to see if he glows. But I remember I got him, and my cousin got a different Ghost Rider guy with a purple face.
Yeah.
He's one of the bad guys. I forget what his name is.
Yeah.
But I remember we both got him
knows?
at the same thing for Easter or whatever, and I didn't realize it glowed in the dark till at night. I was like, what's that?
So this Fantastic Four line, you gotta see this lineup. As far as I can tell, they made Doctor Doom,
Yeah.
Galactus, which
Oh.
would work really well with the little figures.
Uh-huh.
Yes, he would.
Human Torch, Johnny Storm, if you don't want him on fire, Silver Surfer, and the Thing.
Okay.
I think a couple people are missing.
Yeah,
from
Mr.
that lineup.
Fantastic, I feel is a big one.
And the
There's
Invisible
pictures
Woman?
of some of them on the back, too.
Yeah, so the back of the box shows Human Torch, which we have here.
Yes.
Doctor Doom and the Silver Surfer sold on his own package there.
Yeah.
And then just also shows some of the guys from the Iron Man line.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, you
all the
got
fan
Mandarin and
favorites.
War Machine.
Yeah.
Like, forget the other one. Who wants
Yeah,
a Mr.
nobody's-
Fantastic?
Well, what I find so interesting, though, is they made Johnny Storm
that is weird.
in just the
That's
blue
just like-
jumpsuit. Why not make Reed? Or make one
Yeah.
that has a swappable
just,
head
yeah,
at least or
swap the
something.
head. Yeah.
That seems bizarre to me. And maybe there was a Reed figure and I just didn't find it in my research. I don't know.
Maybe.
And Johnny Storm comes with not a fireball, a fire mallet.
I was wondering what that is.
Fire
That's what we're
mallet.
gonna do.
Oh, wow. This is very cool.
I remember when I first got him, I had not seen the Fantastic Four cartoon,
Okay.
so I didn't know who he was. And like my only, like I didn't realize it was like fire. I thought it was like meat. I thought
He looks a little like Muscle.
Well, I
does
felt
look
like
like
because my only
Meat man,
I thought
meat
he looked like the
man.
guy from Hellraiser
Gonna
or
beat
Predator
you to
at
death
the
with a
time.
meatball.
Yeah, because they were drawing him to look like meat for a bit.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, and it's so strange too. He has flames that are sculpted out, but he also has areas of flame that are like sculpted
Yeah.
in.
Drawn.
And
It's like-
the inward stuff really does make you think it's like carved away at, or like his skin's missing.
Yeah.
If it was all the additive flames, it
know
might
why.
be more
Yeah.
more normal
It's like a
seeming.
very weird, very strange design.
Yes.
It the lines kind of remind me of the Dracula armor.
Yeah.
Bram Stoker's
Yeah.
Dracula.
Yeah, the red meat suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird Mr. Fantastic's not in there. Look, I know there will be less people buying Sue Storm,
I understand why they maybe skipped her.
but like package her with whatchamacallit, with Reed Richards.
Yeah,
It's
somebody,
weird that
yeah.
you don't have
Okay.
Reed Richards.
I wonder if they were trying to do like a Stretch Armstrong kind of thing. Like,
That
yeah,
would've been
if
neat.
this
Yeah.
line's popular, you know what we're going to do next? Stretch
I guess you could
Armstrong,
also be
buddy.
like, she's invisible. Just pretend you have
Yeah.
the
yeah,
toy.
just pretend you have her.
It's like the Universal Monsters did that with the reaction figures a couple years ago.
Yeah.
They came out with the Invisible Man, and then they sold I don't know if it was a con exclusive or something, but it was the same packaging basically, but nothing in there.
Just an empty
poster.
box.
I was like, oh my god, this is amazing.
I love those joke figures, like the fog. It's just some like cotton in the thing. It's like, oh, it's the fog. Next up, we have like, this was pretty much everyone's favorite.
Oh, of course.
Spider-Man with the web. You could hang him from shit. I hung this guy from like everything. I used to hang him on my fan and turn the fan on. Have him,
I
like,
used to do
blow
that with
around.
my Spider-Man. I would tie a string to
Yeah.
it and then tie it to the fan and just watch it like
And I'm glad I was able to keep the accessory. I never lost it. This was cool because I was a huge fan of the cartoon.
Cartoon
Yeah.
was really well done.
Yeah.
so good.
Well, I mean, watch it now. There's some weird animation.
I'm sure.
Like,
It's a little,
characters'
but-
hands are disappearing.
In general, though, I thought it had. I think it had better pacing than the X-Men show.
It did. It was
Yeah.
faster paced than the
Yeah.
X-Men. I like both, but yeah, it was definitely
We
way
have that
faster paced.
Spider-Man.
And
here.
you have them in the box. It's fun seeing, like, I remember how cool the packaging was for
Oh,
these
that was
two.
my favorite part of these. Like I'd see them at Toys R Us or
Yeah.
KB Toys, and the reason I never really got them was because I'm like, well, I already have.
Yeah.
Wolverine. I will get Cyclops or whoever the same scale. It would drive me insane to get the big ones and
Yeah.
small ones, but I always love this packaging way more.
This one shows off Venom and Hobgoblin on the back.
It's nice.
Ooh. Venom looks way different than
Yeah,
the Venom we have here.
I'm wondering if this is a different release, or maybe there were two different Venoms.
Wait,
in one?
what's the here? Give me Venom. What's the year on that?
94 ToyBiz.
Really, no year on this guy? Usually they put the year on the toy.
On the bottom of his foot or on his butt.
No. Weird. Yeah, because that one's mouth is open.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's just a different
Yeah.
release, or actually just the prototype was different. The characters that I saw from Spider-Man that supposedly were released was Carnage, Dr. Octopus, Hobgoblin, Kraven, Lizard, Mysterio, Punisher,
Jeez.
Spider-Man animated,
Okay.
Spider Silver Webbing,
Okay.
Okay, I
Spider
remember
with
that. Yeah.
Spider Armor was released with both black and blue undersuit, so that one
Okay.
got a repaint. The superposable Spider-Man, Spider-Man wall hanging, red or black Spidey senses, so it had different
Oh,
things
cool.
attached. And then there was a black or blue version of Venom, so I don't know if they were different sculpts or just
Okay.
like a highlight feature on there, and then the Vulture. So
Okay.
they did a fair amount of
They
bad
did
guys
a
from that
bunch
line.
of
Yeah.
Spider-Mans.
Yeah.
I think I remember seeing Carnage. I feel like I remember seeing Carnage
Yeah.
back in the day.
I would see that the silver, I think it was silver armor or whatever,
Yeah.
in KB Toys for years.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, what the hell?
What do you do with that one?
You know what I used to see in
Thank you.
KB Toys all the time? It was like fishing Spider-Man and firefighter
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
They're classics.
They had them at Kmart. I remember there
Yeah.
was like their vehicles and they'd squirt and it was like,
But I remember
the
being
design
like,
is
I remember seeing
awful.
like fishing Spider-Man. I'm like, why would he need a disguise to fish?
Yeah.
I don't understand. Also,
He's deep
also,
undercover.
why would he need a rod? I feel like he could just flip him out of the thing. It was so weird. Like the firefighter Spider-Man. I'm like, did he get a job with the fire department, but then he had to like keep his identity. I don't think you could do that.
Yeah.
Like, did he steal a fire suit? It doesn't make any sense. So next up we have Gambit. So when these aren't out, they are never out. I have them in like a big display case, except for Venom and Ghost Rider. They're too big. They don't fit. And the reason I put them in a case years ago is because they were starting to look pretty rough. But Gambit's leather jacket is just falling apart.
Oh yeah.
I just took it out of the box and it's already starting to crumble. But yeah, Kevin, you pointed out that his collar is the I'm not even going to touch it.
Don't even take the jacket
Not
off.
even taking the jacket off. The collar is built onto the Gambit figure. It's not part of the outfit. So when you took the jacket off, you had a weird fucking like Jurassic Park collar.
The original, like the smaller version of that Gambit came with a vinyl jacket, almost like the old Star Wars capes, but it had the same thing and it had that collar. And in the smaller scale, I kind of get it. Like, okay, we couldn't get the vinyl to work.
The
the way we
vinyl
wanted.
looks awful.
It looks terrible. It looks like it should be turned inside out because the seams are literally on the outside of it. But this one, the jacket is actually really nice. It has like stitching detail on it and stuff.
Yeah.
So they totally could have made a poppable collar.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
And I'm assuming he came with his staff the way that his hand is.
Yeah, the vintage one had the staff at least, so I'm sure.
Yeah,
he
that
probably
would make that makes the most sense. He's
Yeah.
pretty much known for his staff. I know. Okay, I never liked Gambit's costume. Okay, I like the jacket, but then he has this weird purple blue suit with like tubes. I'm like, what does any of this shit do?
I
I have no idea what's going on with this outfit, but I love it.
I always joked. I'm just like, he's so embarrassed by his costume. He covers it up.
I just
And
love that he has like the weird black sock on his head.
Yeah.
Just enough hair to stick out.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
I watched his origin episode of the cartoon recently, where
Okay.
he's
Oh,
like,
really?
they worship that god in the lake, and she gives them powers and stuff. But yeah, the whole time watching, I'm like, well, when's he get the stupid purple suit? What is the purple tube? What are the tubes? Do they help his powers? What do they do?
It keeps him cool under
Yeah.
pressure. He's got water
Yeah.
running through there.
But Gambit, a lot of people really like Gambit.
He's a good character.
Yeah. And, he comes, well, he didn't come with Rogue, but Rogue is also similar to him. She has also the jacket
yeah.
that's kind of crumbling.
So the interesting thing there, though, is that the small version of her had the jacket sculpted on. So they did do some retooling there.
Yeah, that is cool.
And she is as busty as you would like her to be.
She's got curves.
They
and
spared no
all-
expense on this
Well,
one.
everything we need in a rogue.
And
Hourglass
she's like
figure.
stuck in this she could bend. Oh, no, she can't. Never mind. She could bend one arm, and her other arm is just constantly
Just
flexing.
one elbow joint.
You can't take her gloves off. How is she supposed to use her powers? You can't take her gloves off. But yeah, it's weird they made her head poseable at all because her hair's too long. You can't actually move her
That
head
is
that well.
She's got like a dead raccoon stuck to the back of her
I
head.
know.
It's like,
Yeah, really does look. It's not the most flattering hairstyle when you print it out in 3D. It looks
No.
great in the cartoon.
90s female action figures. What passed as a hot action figure in the 90s is pretty bad these days.
I think. Do we have a picture? Maybe on that X-Men one. Do we have a picture of what she came with?
I think she came with a gun.
I think she came with a gun too. I don't know if I lost the gun or if it's
She's
just.
not on the back of this one.
She's not.
But that rogue figure, the small version of that rogue figure got repainted as Polaris in the small
Okay.
line. But the large rogue got repainted as Mystique in this large one.
So they just
okay.
They just like, well, we
repainted
have
it.
a female
That's
body,
funny.
and we're just
Yeah.
gonna kind of make it work.
Weird they didn't do Jean or Jubilee.
They did so few characters. Like
Yeah.
they just kind of stuck to the guys that they knew were gonna sell really well. And I don't know if they
Yeah.
used like the sales figures from the little guys because those figures were
Yeah.
out for a while before this line. They did an Apocalypse.
Okay.
They did Archangel 2, and it's an odd name to give a figure in the jumbo line, but in the
Yeah.
small figure line, the first Archangel had the like sock on his head,
Yeah.
and Archangel 2 had the hair exposed.
Okay.
And so in the jumbo line, they only made one Archangel, but they called him Archangel
That's
2 because
funny.
that was
Okay.
the name of that design.
yeah. Yeah.
They did Bishop, they did Cyclops, Gambit, Magneto, Mr. Sinister, Mystique, we talked about, Omega Red, Rogue, Sabretooth, Spy Wolverine.
Ooh.
In
Spy
both
Wolverine
black
was
and blue.
badass.
Yeah,
Which
that's
one
him
was
in his
Spy-
like the Canadian government. He's got like
black
goggles on his
outfit with
head.
the gold on.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember seeing Sabretooth. I had a friend who had Sabretooth.
Okay.
Yeah.
They did Weapon X. They did Wolverine in his blue and yellow outfit.
which I have there.
They did the battle damaged Wolverine that we have here,
Oh no!
which surprisingly doesn't really share any parts. He's bulkier.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's way bigger than that Wolverine.
He's the only one of the big figures I ever really wanted. I would
Okay.
sit there like, should I get him or should I get if I get 2 of these or one of but I love the battle. Any battle damage figure is
Yeah.
the coolest thing. Anything that transforms, anything like that.
Yeah.
I've always loved it as a kid.
They did Wolverine in the brown and yellow outfit,
Oh yeah.
and then the spacesuit in
Oh,
two
okay.
different colors.
I always liked the brown Wolverine suit.
The brown Wolverine suit's pretty iconic.
I feel like because I know the cartoon went all in on the yellow and black,
Yeah.
but I remember I was collecting like Marvel cards.
Yeah.
And I had so many of the brown suit, and like that is like my favorite comic book Wolverine
Yeah.
suit. As much as I like the blue and yellow, I'm real about. That's why I didn't care when the movies went on the black suits. I'm like, well, I kind of like Wolverine's darker
Yeah.
brown suit anyway. But yeah, battle damage Wolverine looks cool, and he also comes with.
He's got some knives.
'Cause who's a character who needs more knives? Wolverine.
And
I feel-
Amazing.
I think they're actually upscaled versions of the knives that come with long shot from the small version
Oh,
of
okay.
the toy line. But his back of his package shows a nice mix. He's got battle damaged Wolverine,
Okay.
Archangel 2, Johnny Storm.
All right.
He's got the superposable
Oh,
Spider-Man,
yeah.
the Punisher, and Tony Stark Techno Suit, which is Tony out of the armor.
Nice.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I liked how the MCU had that for one movie.
Yeah.
And then they just
The
dropped
undersuit
it. They
thing.
never did the undersuit again. It's like a big part of like the comics and stuff. Well, I mean, now it's been phased. I think now
Yeah,
the suit
now it's-
grows out of his skin or whatever.
Everything's nanos now.
Yeah.
Nano nonsense.
It's easier to get the masks on and off to see the actors' faces.
But yeah, no, it's funny. Like you could buy Iron Man and just like the protective suit. But yeah, the Wolverine, he's smaller than the rest.
Which is interesting.
They
Yeah.
kept
it
it.
is cool.
They were like, look, fans know that Wolverine is tiny, and they will never accept a tall Wolverine, and they will never accept that actor playing him for 20-something years. Never, ever, ever.
So ToyBiz and Marvel were very integrated.
Yeah.
I think Marvel actually owned ToyBiz at
Okay.
some parts of their history. So I think there was a lot more of those discussions about the comic book and the
Yeah.
history of the characters with some of these guys that, other toy companies in that era might not have been aware, wouldn't have been
Yeah.
aware of, like, the original Secret Wars figures where everyone's the exact same body, obviously
Yeah.
Wolverine wasn't shorter in that line.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's a nice attention to detail. Like, hey, look, kids are gonna know the heights, I guess.
Well, they
this-
all came with the trading cards that told you
That's
the guy's
true,
height,
yeah.
birthplace,
The height and
first
the weight and all
appearance.
that. Yeah.
Spider-Man's a little taller than I think, but then again, that was he was in college in
Yeah,
the
he was in college
cartoon,
in the
so he hit his growth spurt. I guess.
Yeah. He was all beefy in the cartoon.
he was. But I think my favorite out of this line was the Spider-Man and the Silver Surfer.
Okay.
Yeah,
That Ghost Rider is really
that
amazing.
Ghost Rider was cool.
Like, there's so much more detail.
But when I had him, I didn't know who he was.
Gotcha.
Because
That's
I
so
missed.
funny.
Like it was before I really started reading the comics. I missed until I got the cards. I missed the Fantastic Four episode where he gives Galactus the penance stare.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
Galactus has to think of all the trillions of people he killed at once. That was actually the Fantastic Four cartoon from the 90s. Not very good. That episode, really good.
You can see, though, that the sculpting at that era was so much better than, say, Gambit and Wolverine, who were probably from series 2 or 3
Yeah.
of that
Yeah.
ToyBiz line. Because they made several years worth of X-Men
These
figures
are-
before the Spider-Man stuff started, and then
Yeah.
Fantastic Four. Like it just kept going down the line, and they got better and better, more
Yeah.
human.
1995. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, it's cool because I had the Ghost Rider toys as a kid. I love horror, so if I was find like loose comics, I'd go through a box and be like, "This one's got demons. That guy's got a skull. Wow!" And I'd be like crazy about Ghost Rider. But it's cool. This actually has like 2 layers of flame.
Yeah.
There's like the back flame. The small toy had just like one solid brick head of flame. But this is pretty cool.
I'm wondering if he came with an accessory. I assume they all did.
I'm sure
but
he probably came with some kind of chain whip.
chain or
I
something.
think it's what the
yeah.
little guy had.
What was your favorite of the 90s Marvel cartoons?
I mean, I really liked the X-Men show when it came out, but I just felt like the Spider-Man show was better, and then I didn't really watch the other two.
Oh.
Like,
I
I
mean, there
was
were a bunch, but
Right,
yeah.
but I mean, then the Fantastic Four, like
Yeah.
that Marvel Hour kind of
Uh,
block, I just didn't
Yeah.
really. I was basically going from middle school into high school.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it just was like, all right, I watched a couple seasons of X-Men and Spider-Man.
We don't watch cartoons in high school. Okay,
cartoons
you're
are
cool.
cartoons are for children.
They're for children. I don't
What
watch
was your
them
favorite
ever.
in the 90s?
That's hard because I loved X-Men,
Yeah.
but I was such a Spider-Man kid.
Yeah.
So I would watch them both obsessively.
Mhm.
And then when they stopped playing them as much, I think it was UPN had like Iron Man and Ghost Rider and Fantastic Four, and I would like, okay, I guess I'll watch these since there's
All right,
nothing
so-
else on.
I think Spider-Man and the X-Men are kind of the top ones, but I really love the Silver Surfer cartoon.
Okay.
His
I was
like
rewatching
solo
that
one.
recently, and
Yeah.
I was pleasantly
Yeah,
surprised how
it's
good
like
it was.
it's not in the same continuity as the Fantastic
Yeah.
Four cartoon. Remember that big crossover that had everyone?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that Avengers cartoon was garbage. The one where like Captain America and them aren't in it, and it's like Ant-Man and like the other people you don't give a shit about.
Yeah.
All the
But no,
people we
I
didn't
really
sell the rights to.
Huh?
All the people we didn't sell the rights to when
Yeah.
we were really broke.
What you call it? Silver Surfer was great. Like Galactic, it had a lot of CGI
Okay.
mixed with 2D animation. I love the first season of the UPN Hulk cartoon.
Oh yeah.
Second season sucks, but the first season was really, really good. They're all on Disney Plus. People should revisit some of those. But yeah, no, Silver Surfer, that was a cool one because it was so removed from everything else. He's just in space fighting weird monsters and shit.
He's definitely got his own continuity there.
Yeah.
Well, the design of everything from that one, like the couple episodes I watched, were like, this is interesting.
Yeah.
This isn't like we're on planet Earth. This is weird monsters and space nonsense.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It was just a lot of fun.
It was a good time. It's fun to revisit those. And obviously X-Men 97's coming out.
Yes.
Which I'm
course.
curious to see what it. I mean, like, I'm hoping it's good. I don't have high hopes, but I'm wondering if it's one of those things where, like, that version of the X-Men only really worked in the 90s. And it's just, like, it's kind of hard to recapture that magic. You could do new X-Men stuff. X-Men can evolve with the times, like X-Men Evolution. But, like, that version of the X-Men, I'm like, I don't know if this is going to hit the same way it does now.
Yeah, they were going to malls and like the design
Yeah,
was
yeah.
very cool and very 90s.
But it felt like in the moment back
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
It
going to be
was
weird.
It was
time.
like trendy and
Yeah.
they felt like badass outsiders. And now it's like, what? Okay, all right,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
I just hope it doesn't feel like, I don't know if I'm a Munsters fan,
Yeah.
and then seeing like, oh, the Munsters TV movie, and you watch it, and you're like, oh, why? I thought that was like, it can't be bad. It's the Munsters, and you
Well, look, I hope
proven wrong over and over
I
again.
felt a little bit like that with the Hocus Pocus 2 movie. Did you see that?
Oh, God, that was
You know, and they had them
Yeah.
like going into a drugstore. I'm like, oh, come on, you're wrecking this.
It's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind Spider-Man coming back because that did end on a cliffhanger. Mary Jane getting lost in time. It's like, and I know the people behind it talked about like what would have happened. Like he would have went to like the Victorian era or whatever. I'd like
be
to see
cool.
some of that. Like, hey,
Yeah.
let's finish that storyline. Maybe not a show. Maybe just a little special, like a
Just a-
TV movie that just
1
wraps
hour-
up
1 hour
everything. Yeah. Actually have Sandman in it because they weren't able to use Sandman in the cartoon. They used Hydro. And it's like, no
Yeah.
one gives a shit about Hydro. I don't know why he's on the ride. No one also cares about the yellow lady Venom. She's also on the ride. What's her name? Scream or something? Like, no
she's-
one likes her.
She's cheap. That's what it
Yeah,
was.
that's
She's
probably
very
what
cheap.
it is.
Then I have to talk to Todd McFarlane to use. All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming and being on the episode.
course.
Anything you want to plug, Ryan?
Shankweilers. I've been going there recently. My buddy and his girlfriend bought it. They're really awesome people.
That's cool.
It's only like an hour away, and it's the oldest drive-in, I think, in the United States as well as in the world.
Okay.
Oh.
They're having their 90th anniversary now,
Oh, shit.
and it's a lot of fun. They're open year-round. It's so cool.
I got to go there then.
Yeah.
All right. And Tony, the very famous Tony from Hack the Movies.
Yes, in preparation for Deadpool and Wolverine. Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart, they're becoming like the Ric Flair of Marvel movies where like, I'm really retiring this time. It's like, okay. All right. Oh, you're back. Oh, wow. I really thought you were going to be gone this Ric Flair talked about having another match and it's like, dude, you fell asleep in your last retirement match. The ending was botched because you're like, anyway. So in preparation for that, we're going through the X-Men movies. Me and you did X2, X-Men United.
It's a good one.
I don't know when this comes out. Maybe I'll finally get around to doing The Last Stand. I'm reading the Dark Phoenix saga to prepare for that because I totally forgot to read the comic that X2 was based on. I'm like, all right, let me go back and fix that. So yeah, I've just been going down this trip down memory lane with the X-Men movies. So yeah, and hopefully Deadpool 3. I mean, it'll probably be good.
It should be good.
Should
be
be
good.
Fine, yeah.
I mean, first two were good.
No.
It's got Wolverine, and who doesn't love
It
Wolverine?
is fun
Right.
seeing they're bringing the movie cast back, but dressing them up the way they like. Pyro is wearing the yellow and red suit. I'm like, all right, that's fun. Even I hope it's just for this one, and then get new people. Like, just do this one and then get some new people. All right, I don't want to be in my 50s and seeing 70-year-old Wolverine like
Could
Hugh
you
Jackman.
imagine?
Like, I'm still tough.
Hugh Jackman, like his 70s, and he's like, "We're doing old man Wolverine." You're like,
You already
"You
did
could have
that.
done that when you were after X3. You could have done that. You were so old."
But yeah,
It's gonna be
guess-
Clint Eastwood, like.
But yeah, check those out.
All right, guys. Thanks for hanging on the peg with us.